Hello, coaches. Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Spotlight. My name is Kim Capino, and I've worked with hundreds of teachers, coaches, and leaders in schools around the world to help them create thriving and sustainable instructional coaching programs. And I'm on a mission to help you coach better. Wherever you are in your coaching journey, we can support you. Come learn with us in one of our courses or private mentoring packages designed specifically for instructional coaches. Join our global Coach Better community, ask any questions you'd like to hear us answer, and find all of our resources for instructional coaches on our website at coachbetter.tv. You can also find us on social media at Eduro Learning or in our Coach Better Facebook group, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to catch all of our latest videos. If you're not sure where to start, take our free quiz and get a tailored list of our best coaching resources delivered straight to you and designed specifically for your level of coaching experience. Find it at coachbetter.tv/quiz. In today's Spotlight episode, I'm chatting with Brenda Lee, grade 4 teacher at BBS Kuwait. I'm excited to share this episode with you because it's a topic that's been requested by you. We received a request to hear from educators, rather than coaches or leaders, about their experiences with coaching. If you're a long-time listener of the podcast, you know that that's actually how we started the show, primarily with interviews with educators. But we've been focusing pretty closely on coaches and leaders lately, so it's good to have a conversation with another classroom teacher this season. If you missed our previous episode from a few weeks ago, it was a case study with Tina Bhatia, who's currently a grade 2 classroom teacher at the American Community School in Abu Dhabi. That's episode 256. In this Spotlight episode with Brenda, we're chatting about how instructional coaching has supported her growth as an educator. In the full-length podcast conversation, we also talk about how instructional coaching fits within the context of educator professional growth, what classroom teachers need to know to opt into coaching, how she makes time for coaching in a busy teacher schedule, why some teachers resist coaching, how coaching works for her as a classroom teacher, and why she's hoping to make the move from classroom to coach. To listen to the full-length episode, subscribe to Coach Better wherever you get your podcasts. This episode is a fantastic example of why teachers choose to opt into coaching and how you can articulate the value of coaching for your prospective coaching partners. If you're curious about making the move into a coaching role, make sure to stay tuned to the end of the episode to hear more about how I can support you in our course for classroom teachers called Getting Started as an Instructional Coach. Brenda is a graduate too. How and when did you discover instructional coaching? How has working with a coach supported your professional growth? Like, why did that click for you? What was that experience like for you as a teacher?
Okay. Well, instructional coaching isn't actually part of the British system. So I didn't actually come to it until I came to Kuwait. And then I met my dear friend Sasha, and she's an instructional coach. And so we sort of talked about it, but I really didn't have an idea. I didn't fully understand what it was all about. And it wasn't until I came into this school I'm currently in, and I actually saw instructional coaching in action. And I could just see, when I came into the school, any new teacher was given an instructional coach. And I know that isn't necessarily how instructional coaching works, but anyway, we were given an instructional coach. But just working with my instructional coach at the beginning, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to immerse myself in this experience, because I didn't want to come at it with the approach that I've been a teacher for a long time. What can this person tell me? I was going in just like, what am I going to learn here? I'm just opening myself up to whatever I can learn. And it was such a good experience. But because I didn't know instructional coaching, I was thinking when she came into lessons and she observed that afterwards we kind of talk about, what she'd seen, we break it down, what worked well, what didn't work well. And she didn't do that. And I was just like, oh, okay. So what's this? We talked about the lesson, but it wasn't from that sort of observation point of view where you're giving that kind of feedback, because as someone who's been a leader, that's what I was doing. If I go in, I'm giving you feedback. I'm going to highlight the things that worked well, things that didn't work so well, how we're going to move forward. And she didn't. She just we talked, And what I found was I was much more reflective about what had happened. And I talked about the lesson and I talked about the things that had happened. And I talked about what I wanted to see happening just through the conversations that we were having, which was a completely different approach. And I just thought, oh, I mean, at first I was kind of a little bit uncomfortable because you're used to something being a particular way, or you go in with a particular expectation and you don't get that, it's like, okay, so what is this? And what do I do with this? But it was just so helpful to me. And just to it wasn't she didn't do lots and lots of talking. She allowed me to talk and kind of almost talk it out, talk it out, talk it through, and hear myself, and just to be able to go back in with a different kind of approach, but actually being a bit more focused about what it was that I wanted to see happening in the lesson and how those things could happen. So and from that, I just thought, this is great. I need to do this. I need to be part of this. And so I kind of went on that journey of, right, okay, how do I become an instructional coach? How do I do this? Yeah. So yes.
I love hearing that story. Of course, I love hearing about Sasha, who's one of my clients who's been on the podcast many times, and she's just an amazing coach. So I love hearing the story of Sasha in action. But I
Yeah.
really appreciated how you unpacked that surprise that, she
Mhm.
came in to see you in the classroom and you were expecting one thing and you got another. And
Yes.
then the being able to talk it out and the
Mhm.
power of you talking it out. I'd just love to hear any other thoughts you have on that, because I think what I'm pulling out from what you said is that you processing for yourself helped you
Mm.
feel ownership over what you wanted to see happen and how you might make that change in your classroom. But I don't want to put
Yeah.
words in your mouth.
Yes, yes, definitely. Because, as I talk about, being someone who's gone in and has observed, and usually we kind of have this sort of list of things that we want to see, and we're checklisting, because that's the system that we worked with, and particularly in the UK, that's a system we worked with. But to not have that was just very different for me as a classroom teacher. But even with my sort of cap on of thinking of being a leader, just having someone given the opportunity to reflect and to talk about what's going on, as opposed to telling them you haven't done this and you need to be doing that. Because more often than not, you do know, but you don't have the freedom to say that you know. Do you know what I mean? Because that's not the system. Usually, those are not the systems that we work with. So for me, that was really eye-opening for me as a classroom teacher, but also as somebody who has been a leader as well. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I so appreciate that. So the idea of, as a classroom teacher who has been in leadership roles as well, feeling trapped into the structure of observation and feedback almost takes away any of your own internal capacity, your own power to be a reflective practitioner. And that's what coaching gave back to you.
Yes, yes, definitely. Because you're under such pressure. Well, let me say my experience has been you're under such pressure to sort of just make sure that you're hitting the mark and you're doing those things. And is that always allowing you to be the best teacher that you can be? And that just made me just think about that because when I think about people that I've observed over the years and having conversations with them and knowing that these people are brilliant and have got sort of brilliant ideas and things, but just having to be so kind of confined, and not having that freedom. So yeah, just seeing how coaching could allow that. I mean, obviously we work in a system, and there are constraints. I recognise that, but just allowing people to see how valuable they are and how that they do know, and that is what they know is powerful. What I know is powerful. So yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. I have been talking so much this academic year and in all the work that I do about how I believe that coaching creates a sense of belonging because coaching provides space for teachers to feel seen, valued, heard, and respected for the excellent professionals that they are. And I think
Yeah.
you've just really articulated that so beautifully. And I really appreciate your frequent use of the word freedom because
Mm,
when we think about coaching conversations, that's kind of what we're trying to give people is
mm,
time and space
mm.
to freely think. And
Yeah.
I don't usually use the word freedom associated
Mm,
with that, but you've said it today and I'm like, "Oh, that's a word I need to like put in my lexicon when I think about coaching conversations because that's what it is. It is a little bit of
mm,
freedom to be your own your own processor of your own thinking, whereas someone who's kind of providing you some prompts."
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Brenda. If this conversation resonated with you and you're thinking about how you might make the move from a classroom to a coaching role, you will love our courses for coaches. Our program designed specifically for classroom teachers interested in moving into a coaching role is called Getting Started as an Instructional Coach. That's the course that Brenda took, and it's the introductory course to the Coach Certificate and Mentorship Program. If you're new to coaching and you want to make the transition from classroom to coach as smooth as possible, this is the course for you. Come join us for our next global cohort of Getting Started as an Instructional Coach. This course is specifically designed for classroom teachers that are moving into a coaching role so you're prepared for the transition. It's focused on exactly the skill set and mindset shifts you need to make to be successful in your first years as an instructional coach, or even to interview for a coaching position, which is how Brenda used the course. We only open registration for our global cohorts once a year, and it's coming up soon. Don't miss your chance to join us this academic year. Get all the details and join the waitlist at edurolearning.com/getting started. To get a peek at what you'll learn, watch our free New to Coaching workshop, which highlights the key mindset and skill set shifts you'll need when moving from the classroom to a coaching role. Find it at coachbetter.tv/workshops. If you'd like a transcript of this conversation and all of our other resources for instructional coaches, head over to our website at coachbetter.tv to find the show notes for today's episode. If you've made it this far into the episode, let's chat. Leave me a comment below or find me on social media at Eduro Learning and send me a message about what you took away from today's episode. Let's start a conversation to see how we can work together to create a thriving coaching culture in your school setting. See you next time.